Hi everyone, I am Rebecca from ChemKnits and welcome to the recap of the January 29th, 2020 live stream where we drew random colors of food coloring to create dip dyed colorways. That's right, all the colorways we dyed were created by chance and it was so much fun. I literally just finished filming this 4-hour and 24-minute live stream and I'm excited to talk to you a little bit more about the colorways once they are all dry. Initially, I was only going to dye 8 colors, but we expanded 4 more in the middle of the stream, and I am so excited that we did. I will pretty up these skeins in a little bit, but we dyed these 12 colorways on a variety of yarn bases. From Wool of the Andes, which is 100% non-superwash wool, to Stroll, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. We have a 50-50 superwash merino silk blend in there. We've got some BFL, and I'll go through all of this once we take a look at these one by one. But look at all these colors that we created by randomly selecting combinations of mostly Wilton icing color and the Wilton Colorite food coloring system. But there's a little bit of McCormick's and a little bit of AmeriColor thrown in. And, well, there was a chance of Kool-Aid, but we didn't draw any Kool-Aid until the end when we created some bonus recipes that you can play with at home. These bonus recipes are basically everything that was left that we didn't draw during the stream. So, if you want to have a little fun at home, here are some colors that you can mix and play with that we drew randomly, just like the ones that we did for dip dyeing. I made it a little prettier, not my most perfect, but a lot prettier and a little more organized so you can kind of see the colors. I think my favorite is probably number 7, just because those are colors that I gravitate towards. Teal and a little bit of a bluish purple, yes please. But there's others that, I don't know. I'm really excited to see 6, which has a silk blend and a superwash sock yarn. I'm so excited to see how those compare. And they're just so pretty. Now I am going to go wash all of this off camera. I'm going to wash it, put the yarn through my spin dryer, and hang it up to dry. So then we can come back and take a closer look at all 12 colorways. We are not quite done. Well, I mean, today I'm done. But tomorrow or the next day, I'm going to take this leftover dye from today's stream, and we're going to use it to create one final color to see, well, it's not going to be an average of all of them by any means, but I'm curious to see what we've got left over. In this pot, I have a combination of 2 of the pots from the end, so probably there could be anywhere from 4 to 6 tablespoons of white vinegar, maybe around 16, although probably less, cups of water. And we're going to add this brownish leftover dye and immediately start dip dyeing. This yarn right here is some Knit Pick Swish Decay, and you know, we definitely just reduced our vinegar concentration. I'm going a little fast. Because we added probably another 4 cups of water here, and that also cooled things down. I honestly can't tell if we just absorbed most of the color and there's not very much color left. That's kind of what it's looking like. Like if I add this yarn, I'm not seeing like the babiest of baby pinks. And I'm gonna just add that tip. There may be a hint of blue, like when I'm seeing on the yarn, and I've mentioned this before, it almost feels, I guess the white balance on the camera is a little off, it almost feels a little toned in that it feels a tiny bit more white and a little bit less off-white. But it'll be hard to say, and we'll have to compare it to a skein of bare yarn in the end. I did pre-soak this, but yeah, I'm gonna let this sit in the pot for 10 minutes, then I'm gonna turn off the heat and let it cool. We'll wash it off camera and come back, but ultimately you can already tell well, I mean, when we look at it when it's dry, there's not a lot of color in here. We did not have a lot of leftover remnant color from this project. I considered during the live stream taking, say, a teaspoon of each color mixture, combining it together to see what the average color is in the end. But if you think back and look at my combining all the 50 AmeriColor colors together video, the average is probably going to be a greenish red kind of color. You might have some brown or some pink on one end, and it'll probably have a green finish. That seems to be the most average of colors that I see, but you never know, and we could be surprised. We had a lot more like red and orange today than I would say blue and purple, so you never know, and maybe that's something we should explore in the future. The yarn is dry and I managed to fit it all on my mat. Woohoo! But look at the range of colors that we created by randomly selecting from my food coloring arsenal. Before we go in for our closer look, I wanted to remind you all that food coloring can create stunning colors. It might not be as light fast as, say, commercial dyes. So there are some precautions that you can take. I recommend storing things out of direct sunlight. Don't leave it on a windowsill. And if the yarn is wet, don't leave it outside to dry. But from normal wear, even with winter accessories going outside, you can have color that lasts for a decade. But, you know, just don't leave it. And for contrast with all these bright colors, here is our leftover skein. We do have breaking from this rose pink to a hint of a mint green. It is subtle, but still very, very pretty. It has a very like antique feel to it. And yeah, again, like I'm surprised we had so little color left over from washing, like rinsing off the rest of the spoons and everything else, but we still created something lovely and subtle with food coloring. So you can go very loud, but you can also go really, really soft. For number one, we used a combination of rose and buttercup yellow, a 1/4 teaspoon of each of them. And this color on the hawthorn base, which is 80% superwash fine Highland wool, 20% polyamide, which is like a nylon. We got this colorway that is very reminiscent of creamy peach. There is this deep, almost pinkish orange all the way through this more golden yellow orange color, and is just stunning. We had a few double dips in our live stream, and this one was a combination of Knit Picks Swish DK, which is 100% superwash merino, and Knit Picks Stroll, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. The two of these dipped very, very similarly and absorbed color, I think, at a very similar rate. The snag we ran into this time was that I drew creamy peach and base red, but I didn't have enough creamy peach. On a double, I wanted to make sure I used a 1/2 teaspoon of the color, but I really only had between 1/8 and 1/4 teaspoon of the creamy peach. So we pulled another color and I added 1/8 teaspoon of burgundy along with the 10 drops of base red that we rolled with our dice. This colorway I would call a tomato red. It's slightly pink, slightly orangey, and it goes to almost a cream color at the end, which is really, really cool. Number 3 was a 50-50 mixture of the icing colors brown and cornflower blue. And we dipped Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, which is 100% Peruvian Highland wool. And this color is sort of reminiscent to some blacks with a little bit less red. We've got this deep sort of maroonish purple all the way through this sort of dusty teal. And it's so pretty, but I definitely don't feel any brown notes in this colorway, which is why like some of these combinations can just really be surprising. For number 4, we dip dyed 2 skeins of Knit Picks Stroll fingering weight yarn into a mixture of the icing color golden yellow and 5 drops of the base yellow. Maybe there was a combination of both yellow number 5 in here, which is the yellow color, and yellow number 6, which was more of an orange color. But I would say that we do have a gradient from a golden yellow, a bright saturated golden yellow, all the way through to a butter yellow. This mixture was pretty easy to predict once we drew it. For number 5, I used Knit Picks Bare Twill, which is 100% superwash merino, but it has this super high twist, so it's really bouncy, and honestly this would be a really great yarn base to do some glazing, because the high twist allows color to strike the outside of the twist, and it gives some very subtle, it can give some very subtle micro variation. On this base we combined Americolor turquoise with the Wilton base brown from the Color Right system. 5 drops of the turquoise and 6 drops of the base brown. I could have doubled this combination and I considered it, but I love this army green to a smoky greenish gray colorway that we got here. It is so beautiful. Is the darker color a brown? Is it a green? Sort of in the middle. I definitely feel a brownish quality on this that I don't feel in a lot of the other yarns, but it's somewhere like in between, like a greenish brown, if that makes sense. Number 6 was one of the combinations I was the most excited about, because on the yarn bases we have Stroll, which again is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and then we had this from Wool to Die For, a silk sock 50-50, which is 50% superwash merino, 50% silk. And I knew that the Stroll would absorb color faster than the silk blend, and so I was just really excited to see how it would turn out. And you can definitely see that. You can tell that we've got more pigment in our Stroll than we do in the silk sock, but when we drew the colors, we drew sky blue icing color and then neon blue from McCormick. 15 drops of that neon blue, I guess a half teaspoon of the sky blue, and well, the only food coloring ingredient in there is blue number 1. So there was no way we were going to see any breaking here. We have this gorgeous neon blue gradient. I would like to do this sort of side by side again in the future with something that might break, so we could see a little more difference in there with just the, instead of just the food coloring molecule that is the slowest to absorb. But I'm still excited and amused that chance gave us just blue number 1 when so many of the colors we have are mixtures already. I knew this colorway would be a winner as soon as we drew the combination of teal and Color Right base black. I used a 1/4 teaspoon of the icing color teal and 7 drops of the Color Right base black. And we've got this, so almost, there's like a hint of purple and then this deep turquoisey color going all the way to a bright turquoise. Oh, I love it. This is so Rebecca feeling, and I probably will pick this color and choose to mix this color again in the future to play around with. One thing that helps the color breaking be so dramatic is that the yarn base on this one is non-superwash. And since it's non-superwash, the colors absorb a little slower. So we get those reds to strike quickly, and then the blues and yellows take a little bit longer, which leaves a lot of pigment. Once we get all those reds on the yarn, there's still a lot of pigment left, so you can really see these extremes while still have the saturated color at the other end. For number 8, we used Knit Picks Swish DK and Knit Picks Muse. Both are 100% superwash merino, and side by side they absorbed color very similarly. From our combination of red and Kelly green. When you think about mixing red and green, you think that you will get brown. And I'd say we did actually get some brown here at the end. But this brown goes into this, again, sort of a more army green, then a more muted turquoise into the final turquoise color. So this is so earthy and foresty. It's really pretty, and honestly is not just the mud that you might expect from mixing a vibrant red and a vibrant green. Ultimately, when you're mixing these colors 50-50, the proportion and the level of pigmentation in each of the colors does make a huge difference. Number 9 is a yarn base I haven't dyed before. It is from Wool to Dye For. It's 100% superwash Blueface Leicester wool, which is a breed of wool that I absolutely love. And for this one we pulled Colorway Base Orange, which is just yellow number 6, and Colorway Base Pink, which is just red number 3. And we had 9 drops of the orange and 4 drops of the pink, and look how pigmented this is. The Colorway food coloring is insanely pigmented, and I really love it. With this combination, I knew we were unlikely to see something that felt broken. Here we have a brighter orange and then a paler orange on the other side. I don't know if I've dipped, I guess I've dip dyed into some oranges to see if we get some more yellow towards the end in the past. But either way, this color is really, really bright, sunny, and beautiful. Number 10 was a combination of violet and then base crimson on the stroll base. And in this one you might wonder, wait, if you're using Wilton's Violet, why don't we have the bright blue? Normally if I'm going to dip dye in just Wilton's Violet, I like to use 1/2 tablespoon of the icing color per 100 grams of yarn. And in this video, when I was doing a single skein of yarn, I was going to pull a 1/4 teaspoon of the Wilton icing color of each color and then roll if something was drops. So in this case we had a 1/4 teaspoon of the violet and then 3 drops of the base crimson, which I believe is just red number 40. Violet is a combination of blue number 1 and red number 3. This colorway is beautiful, but it is less pigmented because there is less blue in here. Also, red 40 absorbs a little slower than red number 3. And so I'm able to capture those bright blues because the reds strike quick and then I'm able to get the rest of the yarn in fast. But if you have to wait a little longer for the red 40s to absorb, then you can end up with a paler, more sky type blue, which is stunning nevertheless. Number 11 was a combination of juniper green and black on Knit Pick Stroll. And the black has a little bit of an asterisk because I'm not sure which of the at least 3 formulas I have in my stash of the Wilton black icing color. They have changed it over the years, and so that can shift the way things go. Here we have, gosh, it almost feels, it's very red. It's like a reddish brown through to this turquoise color. Our final combination is on Swish DK, and it was a mixture of leaf green and base pink. 7 drops of the base pink. I don't know what I was expecting, but I was like, okay. I think I was expecting something a little more like these 2 different previous colorways, which are very similar. Here, this was our red, and I forget what the green was. Kelly green, I think. But we have almost this terracotta orange brown with some green peeking through, and then a beautiful bright leaf green on the other side. This is awesome and works so well. It just wasn't what I expected at all. So here we have it, these beautiful 12, well, 13, but 12 colorways that we drew randomly using a combination of dice and random number generators, and honestly, this was so much fun. I would like to give a huge thank you to all of you that pre-ordered yarn to be a part of this stream. It really allowed me to dye many more skeins than I might have otherwise been able to. When you shop in the ChemKnits Creations Etsy shop, you get yarn that I dye in these videos, but you're also helping to fund the materials for future videos. And so it really is a beautiful win-win-win and helps out a ton. I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and if you enjoy these fun streams, make sure that you are subscribed to the ChemKnits Tutorials YouTube channel and have your notifications turned on so you don't miss a stream. Following me on Facebook and Instagram, I'm facebook.com/ChemKnits, or on Instagram I'm just @ChemKnits. That doesn't hurt either because usually I share these kinds of things in my stories. Don't forget to leave the video a thumbs up and drop a comment below. Which one of these colorways is your favorite? Which one surprised you the most? I cannot wait to hear what you think. I hope in 2020 to do more of these mystery color live streams. Whether we do something similar to this one, where we just have another go at it and use all the food coloring, or I would like to think of ways that I could play with this with acid dyes that could be done safely and easily. One of the reasons why the food coloring ones work so easily is that I have many more pots that are food safe than are not food safe, and since all the food coloring is in a liquid or gel form, I'm not dealing with mixing powders and things like that. I am always open to suggestions, so leave any suggestions for these mystery color combinations down below. I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and thank you so much for watching.